612. That was his credit score. The month the divorce was finalized. Not excellent, but functional. He could get approved for things. 14 months later, it was 528. 84 points, gone. Not from a spending spree, not from missing payments on purpose, from a divorce decree that a credit card company had never heard of, and, legally speaking, didn't have to care about. Here's the part that should genuinely concern anyone watching this who has been through a divorce. Almost none of what happened to his credit was his own doing, and almost all of it was preventable if anyone had told him what you're about to hear. This is what wrecked it, and the 5 steps that rebuilt it. Before we go further, a note on how this channel works. David is a composite. His situation is built from documented patterns that show up repeatedly in post-divorce credit recovery, not from one specific man's file. The numbers attached to his story are illustrative, but every mechanic in this video, how the scoring actually works, what creditors are and aren't obligated to do, what the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says about your liability, all of that is verified, sourced, and listed in the description below. That's the deal on this channel. Composite stories, real mechanics. If a number is illustrative, you'll be told. Now, what actually happened? Starting with the single most misunderstood fact in this entire subject, and the one that costs men the most money. Your divorce decree is a court order between you and your ex-spouse. It is not a contract with your bank. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau states this about as plainly as a federal agency ever states anything. Divorce changes the relationship between spouses, but it does not automatically change their relationship with creditors. And this is the line worth memorizing. Sending creditors a copy of your divorce decree does not end your responsibility on a joint account. Read that again. A judge can order your ex-spouse to pay A with credit card. That order is enforceable against your ex-spouse in family court. It is not enforceable against Visa or MasterCard. If your name is on that account and the payment is late, it reports late on your file too. And on a joint account, liability isn't split down the middle. The CFPB is explicit. Each account holder is responsible for the full balance, and the creditor can pursue either holder for all of it. That's the legal foundation. Here's how it played out in David's case, through 3 failures that are almost universal. The joint credit card was assigned to his ex-wife in the settlement. She fell behind twice in the first 6 months. Not maliciously, a hard stretch, the kind that follows most divorces. Both late payments reported to both credit files, because both names remained on the contract. Payment history is the single largest input into a FICO score. Approximately 35% of the entire calculation, according to FICO's own published breakdown. 2 late marks on a file that previously had none is not a small dent. It is the largest available category, damaged. The plan was to refinance the mortgage into his name alone, straightforward on paper. In practice, it took 4 months longer than expected. Updated income documentation, title clearing, lender backlog. Throughout that window, the joint mortgage continued reporting under both names. Nothing improper happened. The delay itself was the damage, and this is the one that blindsides almost everyone. When joint accounts close, total available credit shrinks. His balances didn't increase by a single dollar, but his credit utilization ratio, which is the amount owed compared to total available credit, jumped because the denominator got smaller amounts owed, driven largely by utilization, is approximately 30% of a FICO score. The second largest factor, damaged without a single new purchase. Divorce can spike it without you spending anything. One more thing worth knowing, because men assume the opposite. Marital status itself is not a scoring factor. FICO does not know or care that you got divorced. Race, sex, religion, national origin, marital status, none of it enters the calculation. The score isn't punishing the divorce. It's reporting the accounts. Here is the recovery sequence, in order, and the order genuinely matters. Step 1. Pull the full report from all 3 bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, not just a score from an app. They don't always carry identical information, and post-divorce discrepancies are common. Under federal provisions, free weekly reports are available at annualcreditreport.com. This costs nothing and takes an evening. Most men skip straight to fixing things they haven't diagnosed. Step 2. Contact each joint creditor directly and in writing. Not the decree, the creditor. Important expectation setting here. A creditor is not obligated to convert a joint account into an individual one. Many will require a full reapplication as an individual and can approve or deny on those merits. In many cases, the practical remedy is closing the account entirely and opening new individual credit, which is exactly why this step comes before anything else. It takes the longest. Step 3, and this is where most online advice goes badly wrong. Dispute genuine inaccuracies, a balance that's incorrect, an account listed as open that was closed, a payment marked late that was actually paid on time. Those disputes work because the information is wrong. But a late payment your ex-spouse genuinely caused on an account that genuinely still carries your name is not inaccurate. It is accurate and unwelcome. Credit bureaus are not required to remove accurate reporting simply because a decree assigned that debt elsewhere. The remedy for that situation isn't a credit dispute. It's enforcement of the decree in family court against your ex-spouse. A different process, in a different building, with a different objective. Men lose months filing disputes that were never going to succeed when the actual lever was legal enforcement. Step 4. A secured card, a modest limit, funded by your own. Deposit rebuilds payment history, the 35% factor. But how it's used decides whether it does anything. A secured card sitting unused in a drawer generates no payment history at all. One small recurring charge, paid in full every single cycle, generates 12 months of positive history a year. Step 5. Goodwill adjustment requests. Calling a long-standing creditor and asking, directly and professionally, whether a single late payment during a documented hardship can be removed. There is no legal obligation for any creditor to agree. Many won't, but the request is free, takes 15 minutes, and the cost of not asking is guaranteed. In David's case, 1 of 2 creditors agreed. That's roughly the realistic hit rate, not a trick, just a conversation most men never have. One caution worth knowing. Some issuers report secured cards distinctly as secured accounts, which some lenders view differently. Ask before opening how the account will be reported. The turning point in his recovery wasn't a dispute or a phone call. It was a correction in thinking. Roughly 6 months in, he had been closing old individual credit cards he no longer used. It felt responsible, simplifying, cutting ties, cleaning up after a messy year. Every closure shrank his total available credit. Every closure pushed his utilization ratio higher. He was damaging the second largest scoring factor with an action that felt like discipline. You cannot reopen a closed account. But he stopped closing others, and he called one issuer on a card he already held and paid in full, and requested a limit increase. They agreed. His utilization ratio dropped meaningfully in a single billing cycle, without paying down $1 of debt. That is the lesson underneath this entire subject. Rebuilding credit after divorce is not about withdrawal. It's about becoming the sole author of a file that for a while your ex-spouse's decisions were still writing. The whole sequence, once more. Pull all 3 full reports. Diagnose before treating. Separate joint accounts directly with each creditor, in writing, expecting reapplication rather than automatic conversion. Dispute genuine errors. Enforce the decree in court for everything else. Open one secured card and use it lightly, paid in full, every cycle. Ask existing creditors for goodwill adjustments, free to ask, guaranteed to fail if you don't, and protect your available credit instead of shrinking it. 14 months from the bottom, David's file was back in the 700s. No trick. 5 actions, correctly sequenced. Most costing nothing but a phone call and an evening. If your credit took damage after your divorce, put your situation in the comments. What caused it? What you've already tried. Those comments genuinely shape which videos get made on this channel next. And if this gave you a process instead of a pep talk, subscribe. That's what this channel for. Men rebuilding in the second half, with verified numbers instead of motivation. This is the reserve man. Wealth, discipline, the second half.